It's funny, it's like you actually put it in more long, but and myself. Did you ever have you? What do you?
All right, just a reminder, request everybody silence your phones if they haven't done so. We do have about 6 o'clock, so go ahead and call the meeting over. Please stand for the pledge. And remain standing for prayer by the pastor Tom Brown. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together here with our village representatives and, Lord, to consider some of the needs within our community. Lord, we pray that you would just give guidance, direction. Lord, we thank you for the privilege of being in Blissfield. Thank you for the community that we have. And Lord, we thank you for these that give direction, leadership. We pray that you would just give direction throughout the course of the events for this evening. And we pray your blessing, and we ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to start with roll call.
Mike Gunner,
Present.
Gwen Dusa,
Here.
Bill Gritzmaker,
Here.
Sherry Luce,
Here.
Ken Nichols,
Here.
Eric Rogers,
Here.
Timothy Waters.
Move on to approval of minutes from previous council meeting September 8th.
Move to approve the minutes of September 8th, 2025 as presented.
I'll support.
A motion, Bill, second, Sherry, to approve the minutes of September 8th, 2025 as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, Lisa, call roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill, Mike,
Yes. Carried. On our presentations and communications. We do have our Lenawee Now annual presentation. We have Tim here for that. We'll go ahead and start with that. Welcome, gentlemen.
Well, you know, the other way, it's not an agency for Lenawee County. Been a long time. Serving those fields. There's no Pat, you wanted to just start from there. We got the front page with everything, what we do.
Yeah, seems like old home in here. Anyway, I had a different job after 47 years in, just down the street. I became executive director of Lenawee Now about 2 years ago, and opportunity to give back to the community. So the things that we do, we are here to preserve existing jobs, foster the creation of more jobs for our citizens, more tax revenue for our communities, and support and collaborate with the initiatives to improve the quality of life for all Lenawee County citizens, thus making Lenawee County the choice for new and existing businesses and families. We do that through a number of different ways, and I'm not gonna read through all of this because you have it on your presentation, but business retention and expansion, business attraction and marketing to get people to come our way. Workforce and talent development, that's a big one. And I'm proud to announce that the Align Center for Workforce Development has just been finished. It was a $10 million grant we got from the state of Michigan on the east side of Akron to put together a new state-of-the-art workforce development center. So that is now open and operating, and we expect great things from that. Entrepreneurship, small business support. Another one that's become quite active is housing and support for housing. Other things we do is infrastructure and blight elimination, community revitalization. We do data research and policy support at the statewide level. We have regional collaborations with Detroit and Toledo. And we have resident and stakeholder engagements, much like we're doing with you tonight throughout the county. So we appreciate the opportunity to report out to you some of the successes and things that we're doing. And Tim will go through that on a report card. Thank you.
We're going to community report card. This is the 5 years, 2020 to 2024. You can see the number of attractions or new jobs and attractions we got planned. 334 retaining jobs, 45, $40 million worth of investment from attractions. We got 46 million for existing business growth and 13.8 million from startup, a total of 100 and close to $101 million new investment in Lenawee County in 2024. And 567 new jobs. And the number like maybe even just a little bit more is the community grant secured. That's money we brought back into Lenawee from the state and from the feds. So you can see the total there for workforce development was almost $11 million for the 2024, 22 million in community development and $1.5 million in business development. Basically, the last 5 years, we brought in $34 million back to Lenawee County for help for everything we do is a loan. Our successes from 2024. Polyjohn, it's a company that is a big customer of Unilog. In fact, they located right inside of Unilog. Then Dreams Made Reality is a startup, a DJ and party event coordinating company. Then you got the behavioral health consulting and partners of North America took over the Herrick hospital in Scottsdale. Then our friends at CFS, so we just opened up the grain elevator part of the ethanol plants. They're working on the other part. My friends at Ross Design, they made forklift parts in Woodstock. Yeah, 30 units ago. He's doing really good. And then the Bixby Hospital, we got that down. Part of the money, grant money we talked about, and that Pat was talking about, the hospital's down. Working with the developer right now to put in, how many units does he do? They put 53 housing units on the Bixby hospital site. Like that said, who would have thought that whether economic development would be housing, but we're now. So then the next one is the project pipeline page. You can go through that. You can see a lot of the metrics for this year, or at least January to June. We do this. This is a quarterly report. So this was the first half of the year. New projects, very top line, 27 for the quarter, 55 year to date. Projects in the pipeline, 101 for the quarter, 121 year to date. And then open projects as of July 1st. We're a little bit more right now, 90. That's enough projects. We're not juggling all the time. As you know, a lot of these projects are 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, several years in the making. Sometimes they go away and they come back, but we got to keep an eye on it. So right now we got our eyes on about 90 of them. With potential new jobs of 5,400, $2.1 billion of investment. Successful projects, the one so far, we brought in a grant this year, the Addison Fire. What do they call it building?
Fire training.
The fire training guys are familiar with it. They approached us looking for what can they do with it. I mean, it's a very beautiful building. It's large, but it's not terribly used. What else can they do with it? From some grant money, brought in some consultants that there are various options you can do with this building. And so that report is done and was presented to the community. Activity metrics, RFP responses. You can see 13 in the second quarter of the year. We've got at least that many this quarter. 20 year to date. A lot of requests for proposals come to us from Michigan Development Corporation or Regional Growth Partnership. We can talk about that in a second, and Detroit Regional Growth Partnership. Folks are looking, these would be attractions. Folks looking for, I need this many acres, or I need a building this big, and I need 175 people, et cetera, et cetera. We answer all those responses, submit buildings, submit qualifications, responses to those RFPs. We've had one site attraction so far, one site visit, and the team actually limited. In our call program, visited 5 companies, that's what we're going down this year. We go to the next page, our toolbox, some of the program tools we got, and we talked about these before. Entrepreneurial services, financing, we have a couple loan programs ourselves to help gap financing. If there's the private financing that makes the whole deal, we got some gap financing that we control. We influence to help make fill up that gap. What else we got? The next one, Pat talked about the Alliance Center, that's up and running. They're their own 501c3, they got their own board of directors. They're on their own, rocking and rolling. Next page is our entrepreneurial programs. We talked about those before. Get some one the Lion Fund there. You see that second tier down. That's one of the funds that we help manage. Lean Rocket Lab. We're part of a grant with Hillsdale and Jackson County to do entrepreneurial training. I don't know if you're familiar with Launch Runaway in Adrian. They're working with entrepreneurs that haven't necessarily, not all of them have started their business. They just have an idea, so they go through Launch Runaway. Think the business thing work, should I go forward? The Lean Rocket Lab is sort of the next stage. They've started. They have sales, maybe not profits, but they have sales. So how do we get them to that? How do we make them get that third step? This Lean Rocket Lab program is we bring them in 12 weeks of classes, one day a week, 2-3 hours on usually Thursday. We partner with Hillsdale on that one, so we've been having these classes in Hudson at the Center for Science Ministry in Hudson. We have 12 students or 12 companies in the cohort right now. We had 10 in the cohort last year. Our last cohort will start in January. It was 3 years ago. And again, so the companies go through here. We bring in all the experts to help them. Again, reinforce QuickBooks, marketing, sales, inventory, all those stuff you need. And then once they graduate, there's a $4,000 stipend for them to spend on either equipment or inventory, or you have some discussion about what the money goes to. The Gateway program, that's Gary Clements in our office. That's a state program. He's entrepreneurial based, but he's aimed at high tech. We got him trying to ferret out as much tech as we have in Runaway County. He also works with some of the non-tech, but his job is to work with the high-tech guys. Other one, Red Tiger. That's we talked about that one here before too. Working with companies that are looking to transition, either sell it to the next generation, pass on to the next generation, or sell it to an employee, or sell someone trying to keep these companies in Runaway. We've got 2 in right now. Not huge companies, but I would use like keep them in one way. The next page, housing runaway, as Pat was talking about. There's a group got together called Housing Runaway. Actually, they did create the C3, didn't they? Yes, we did. We need part of one of the first things we noticed, we need more people. We're out, or running low on people. But they need houses, and there's not a lot of houses left in Ludlow. That's why we're working with the Bixby facility, developer to get houses on the Bixby site. But so what can we do to get housing? How do we do that? $350 a square foot is kind of expensive to build new housing. And I don't know how anyone's affording a $200,000 starter home. Mine wasn't. So we're working, part of this is we've got some state funding to help work to attract developers. Because we got land. Then we got the Bixby site, we got sites all around the county, so we got the land. It's just not going to get developed in Camden and Hampshire. So I know the Bixby, I believe those are going to be rentals. Because you need, you have to make the income long-term, make the math work, because it's still $350 a square foot to build a house. The why, by the way, the next page, that's our people attraction effort right now. We're working again, marketing efforts going to attract people from outside of Illinois, outside of the state of Michigan to come here. There's a lot of stuff here that's very cool, very worthwhile. The housing prices are a little bit more affordable here than say other than Ann Arbor or other places. We have great quality of life events, programs, and places. Decent jobs, good well-paying jobs. So we're working right now to attract more people to Illinois. Again, when I started in this business almost 30 years ago, it was jobs and activities. Cool. But now it's like, well, how do you do that? No, now we need people, and what do people need? People need housing, and we got one group working together on daycare. I didn't think I'd be here, but here we are. Partnerships, how we market Illinois County. We got the next page is the Greater Ann Arbor region. When Governor Schneider was in office, he decided to be up the state for a lot of the agencies that they had into regions. I think we had 12 regions. We're in region 9. We thought that was a silly name. Since it's us, it's Illinois County, Hillsdale, Monroe, Jackson, Livingston, and Washington. So we thought the Greater Ann Arbor region sounded better than region 9. So we work with them on some site selection process on getting those RFPs here into town and to attract money into Illinois. The next one is the Detroit Regional Partnership. It's 11 counties around Detroit region. They are purely a marketing agency. Their goal is to attract companies to Southeast Michigan. So when they show up, when they go to Auto Mechanica in Frankfurt or all the foreign site selection shows or even the national site selection shows, they show up as Detroit. Our budget doesn't allow us to do that, but they show up showing the whole county. And it sounds a lot better, it looks a lot better when you show up as Detroit, the Detroit region, than and even Washington doesn't say Washington, they say Ann Arbor. And then the next one is, well, actually, one of the programs we do have from the Detroit Regional Partnership is they have a VIP program, very important properties. So we were able to get the Tecumseh Tech Park in this program, the Hudson Industrial Park, working on the one in Adrian, 155 acres in Adrian. We leased 25 acres. And then they come in and they do a full, they write about 55 pages report. You can see it here, the due diligence report. That you can give us information for that part, that other part. So the site selection is called, here's all your answers, and here's on page 1, here's page 2 if needed. And then they pay for that, we don't pay for that. Then they go to step 2, which is the municipal site studies. They can go for 100,000. The landowner, if it's a municipality or a private industrial park, has to pay 20%, but 20% out of 100,000, no bad deal. And then if we actually we go through step 2 and we actually get a project, they have money, another 100,000 they can help with incentive. If we needed to go to a BPA or some other for a significant study. Then the last one is just the Hudson Industrial Park. We looked at the field of the board, 55 days before. Last is RGP, Regional Road Partnership. Basically, they're the DRP of Ohio. They got 17 counties, 14 counties in Ohio, 3 in Michigan. Monroe, us, and Hillsdale. The region, and they do the same kind of marketing with the Detroit Regional Partnership. Out in the world, because they attract big business or bigger companies, especially manufacturers that to our area. The reason we're partnering with these guys, even though it's Ohio, is we're the same labor force. It just makes sense. I mean, most employers, I don't know how much they notice an address if you have the labor area. You know, I don't care if this state or that state or this county or that county. So we work closely with RGP. One thing we did ourselves this year, we did another it's called a familiarization club. We partnered with Jackson County, Accelerate Jackson County, their utility college. And hosted 2 site selectors at MIS with Firecracker 400 this year, last year as well. Got a suite at the racetrack. Had them here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday we showed off Jackson County. Saturday we showed off Runaway County, and then Sunday we took them to the race. Great time, and got to show them the industrial park. Got to show the quality of life, properties that we have, or things going on in Runaway and Jackson. Same thing. So that went very well. And then lastly, just the analytics from our social media. Anything else you want to add? Pat?
I think we have
I did a few words.
We have a lot of different social media things that we're doing, also just on that front. We're in the process of redesigning a brand new logo and website for Runaway now as we speak. But as you're all aware, social media is very important in getting your message out to people about your business, about job opportunities, various other things. So we have a strong social media impact and well in our social media.
Have you answered any questions? We'll let him.
Also questions for Tim Pat?
I guess, I was curious if everybody else did it first. You've obviously met with Laura Nichols. With our BDA Main Street stuff. And, how often do you have that opportunity to meet? Does she attend classes with you guys? I've talked with Laura before. I know she totally believes in Lenawee now. Is there anything in particular you can share that has been, implemented specifically for the village of Blissfield?
See if that's would be the closest.
Okay,
Let me start talking with the
No, good
village.
point.
Yeah,
Okay.
we worked a couple of years on getting them here and making that transaction happen. And good company, Michigan company, and I think they have fairly large plans to continue to grow. Like I said, there's a few issues that they're working through right now, but that was a big one when the ethanol plant goes down. So we're happy to get somebody into that property, and we're happy to see that they're willing to put the time, money, and effort into it, and it will create a number of good jobs too. So,
You guys have been pretty successful in the entrepreneurial aspect recently, the past couple of years. You know, you've been having some get-togethers, awards, things like that, Adrian. So again, kudos to that. I appreciate that. I think that's good. You know, what's good for Lenawee is obviously good for Blissfield, vice versa. I guess my question is, you know, what does it take to get a little bit more raw data for improvements in Blissfield? Where can we show, you know, we obviously are investing, we're not investing a whole lot. We invest a lot in our DDA. We try to invest in you, obviously. But, you know, is there more that we can do? Is there more funding that you need? Is there more, you know, communication with this board, with our executive director, our DDA director, that sort of thing? I guess, again, just to see, you know, more bang for our buck. How do we prove to our residents that we're spending responsibly, that we're getting something from Lenawee now? Obviously, we've had a great working relationship with you guys, and it's a challenge, not only here, but everywhere. Everybody's fighting for the same thing. We totally get that. But again, you know, what can we do to take the next step to really say we're getting really good bang for our buck in with Lenawee now?
We can have more people more, and then we also bought access to a database like CAS. The demographics and all and data. So that might be very useful. So,
Steve, I think also what's really important is that, we fully understand what it is you want. Every community is a little different. Like say, we'll say housing, is that, high on your priority list? If it is, where, how much, what price range, those type of things, so that if we want to try to attract a developer to the area to put some new housing units in Blissfield, we just want to make sure we're doing the things that the community, your community wants, and not, like I say, one size does not fit all. So the better understanding we have of your needs and your wants, I think will help us zero in on what we can get for you, and whether it's grants or other things like that. You need to look for training, you get other things. But that better understanding we have of those things, I think will help us serve you better.
It's definitely full circle, you talk about the need for talent and jobs and people to stay here and do these higher quality jobs. But we also have to provide them, we're sort of a veteran community, everybody seems to leave for work. Yes, we would love to see more housing, more affordable housing, increase in our tax base, it's a challenge. Some people hate to grow, some people, want to see things happen. So again, you need to find that middle ground to where we're growing responsibly, respectfully, and still having that small town feel. But again, if we don't continue to evolve and grow and take ahead, and we're going to get swallowed up, then we're really in trouble. So I guess my last question, any discussions, work with Country Market, that kind of thing, Rex, any of the developers specifically on how we're, bringing in business. How we're
I've had a couple conversations with Rex, and I do speak with him on a regular basis. So, yeah, and we don't want to nose into somebody else's business, but we do want to let them know that we do have a lot of resources that we could bring to bear, and so we really like to look at ourselves as we should be the first call you make. Because if we can't do it, we can find the people that can, or we can find the resources that can, and bring those to bear.
Absolutely. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I can make sure, I don't know if you worked on the one-way housing, one-way email, I'll get that, because we, housing, one-way.
I am for sure. I think she is.
I'll double check with I'll make sure she is, because they meet tomorrow, they meet housing one-way meetings once a month, like I say, they're created their own C3 moving forward. One one-way is not a legal entity, but we've had it for 2010. A lot of local officials and concerned citizens, or so I call it a coalition of interested individuals on what should be the next emphasis for us, or for any community, or for that group. The last thing they started was we need housing, so they helped build housing a lot of ways. Okay, what's next? And more of a community development as opposed to just pure economic development, right? I felt it was the same thing, but
They work together, definitely.
and yeah, we both those organizations meet once a month at our office.
Anybody else, questions, comments?
I had a question. Could you, I know that a couple of years ago, the Lenawee County had withdrew some of their funding that they supplied and helped you with. And I understand that that is coming back around again. Could you give us some on that?
We're hoping to have that contract done within the next, I would say, week. We've been having talks with them over a period of time, and yes, my understanding is they have put it in the budget. We're just working on the final details of the contract, so that should be back. And the amount, I believe, is $150,000 from the county. Because quite honestly, I don't know any areas where the county does not participate in the budget. So we're happy about that. And it was an unfortunate circumstance that all happened, but I think we're really on that.
Absolutely. Much needed to rebuild that bridge.
Yep.
Sam Sherry? All right, appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. For presentations and communications, we also have a public hearing the schedule regarding ordinance amending chapter 143, which is the noise ordinance. So we need to open that public hearing for said public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing on ordinance amending chapter 143 noise. Support.
Motion Bill, second Tim, to open the public hearing regarding the ordinance amending chapter 143 noise. Lisa, call roll.
Gwen,
Yeah.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Carried. Is there anyone who wishes to address council regarding the proposed changes to the noise ordinance?
I've got something. You guys got a letter from Missile Span, everybody seen that?
Go ahead and state your name for the record. What's up?
My name is Art Bonner, I'm a special projects coordinator at Missile Span EFP. I've worked there for 25 years now. I'm off the retirement field. And just wanting to make sure that we can continue to operate our business in the same model we had for the past 20-some years, 25 years in that location. Currently, we're operating from 5 in the morning until 3:30 in the afternoon. But that's there's a possibility of bringing our second shift back. We've had a plant in Vancouver that has closed. Tariffs and import duties and all that kind of thing made us down. Financially responsible to stay there, so we may have to take on slack there. We're expanding business. We're in the process of putting another 12,000 square foot building for shipping and storage in our facility. That's in progress right now. We're putting those in granite. We're just waiting to get finalized on T's across to start construction yet this year. So I don't know how much manufacturing is in town, how much is expanding in town. We keep hiring. Our business model keeps growing every year. And we just want to be sure that we can continue on in that fashion. We did have some neighbors complain about noise years ago. We made some changes to our processes. By the requirement is we keep below 60 dB average at our lot line on the west side of our lot line. The residential neighborhood, we've been able to do. Just don't want to see that change. That's I guess the issue we want to bring forward for them to be able to continue in the same fashion we always have. So,
That is a great question because that really wasn't even mentioned during our discussion on the ordinance itself. Again, that kind of falls with zoning and planning, that sort of thing as well, but really that wasn't the intent on the noise ordinance, I guess, was it? I mean, it was.
Well,
really wasn't
it was
discussed or-
discussed at committee of the whole, so I would disagree a little bit with that, but I think what potentially. What we talked about at committee of the whole, and I'm not saying this is the only solution, but potentially a solution is we had specifically talked about decibel levels at that committee of the whole. We talked about a lot of different things, and that's how this ordinance amendment initially started. And then we ended up, after all that discussion, coming back to just quiet hours. So you could add that decibel level where it needs to be. You can leave the wording that you have now and just add that decibel level. Of course, there may be other solutions to this too that I'm not thinking of, but that's kind of what we initially talked about. And I would definitely say hear what chief maybe, because the chief is gonna be the one, him and the officers that have to actually enforce this ordinance.
I get the objective to simplify.
Make this everyone.
Without decibel level though, this is subjective, it's unenforceable. I need something measurable, something articulate. The decibel level at 100 feet is something we can actually measure and enforce. This.
With what?
That's
Their meters.
That's matter. I mean, they're very cheap.
I understand that, but we don't even provide those currently, you know what
I
I
can
mean?
get
So
one.
we're kind of before.
They sell on Amazon, and I can get one very quickly. This hasn't been a major issue.
Right.
But if we're gonna have an ordinance that's enforceable, I need something that gives me a level, otherwise it's. One person says it's serving the peace, the other one isn't, an officer says it is, an officer says it isn't. It becomes completely unenforceable, as soon as it gets to court, it's thrown out the way it's written. So we need that in there. To make it
For clarity. Great.
And we certainly, you know, want to be promoting a business and whatnot. Again, I feel like we really didn't address the manufacturing, the industrial side of it. It was more of a residential, or, you know, we've got, you know, these ordinances are created to be updated and fixed as needed. And if there is a concern or if there's a problem, we can go back and revisit it, obviously. But again, you know, I feel like.
The ordinance did need to be updated. There was
Yes,
a lot, there
absolutely.
was a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
that we were trying to simplify it. We may have oversimplified just a little bit, right? I think we had the part in about the decibel level. I think we're in good shape, but we haven't certainly had any complaints. from
No place where it has a recent.
Not that I'm aware of.
I think when we were talking about it, it was more of the downtown stuff.
Yes, right. Yeah, there was never industrial mentioned during that
No,
discussion.
yeah, I've not ever received a complaint from anything outside of, music. That is no 60 since I've been here.
When you state, sir, the part here, through this process, it was determined that the decibel of 60 decibel or less was required at the property line. May I ask where you got that information from?
That's what I was told way back when.
Okay.
We had some complaints from neighbors when we were running the second shift. So
That's why you were with the 60, that's where the number came from.
right, I probably saw it back in writing back 2005 or whenever this was, but I couldn't find that information, but I do remember the spec. I do, we purchased a noise meter. We use that, we walk out to the streets and check for there. We made some changes to our processes as far as some of the air pressures with the cleaning, and we had to keep the door shut at night because of the noise inside the plant. But there were minor changes on our part. Basically, to keep within that 60 dB average.
Right. I was curious with the 60, you know, where that came from.
Most communities, if they set decibel levels, are typically 100.
Is it
At 100 the numbers.
100 at a, so 100 decibels can be for the 100 feet, 100.
Right,
Well,
so
100
with,
decibels
so I'll,
is way out of line. That's higher than the noise in our shop. And that requires double hearing protection inside there. So
100 decibels.
100 decibel is loud. It's really.
No, again, to go back to the plane and whatnot, you know, there's, you're probably zoned, I don't know, you're talking about where you're zoned industrial one or whatever here. And then if we don't have the proper landscape buffers, things like that, that are, looks like between the residential, the industrial. So there's always ways that we can go back and revisit this again. If we're not getting the complaints currently, I don't think I hope not, that's gonna be a problem.
Okay.
But there's obviously ways that we want to work with our local business, we want to work and, you know, again, address these, update these ordinances as issues arise. You know, this isn't just a one all done. And that's the whole point of going through and rewriting these. So we're certainly, I think we'll be willing to work with any of our business. It's a matter of, you know, trying to clean things up, and if an issue arises, we'll definitely address it. So I appreciate the information.
Yes, if you not brought that up, that would, you would not have had that part.
No, I didn't have industrial or manufacturing or anything like that. I'm sorry, but.
Well, I read in the paper and you know, I agree on get this for set in stone, so that I know what the future holds. It looks like we're running in business.
Well, we like that, so
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, anybody further regarding the public hearing for the noise ordinance amendment? Not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make motion to close the public hearing at 6:39 p.m. I'll support.
Motion Sherry. Motion Sherry, second Gwen to close the public hearing at 6:39 p.m. Please call roll.
Tim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes, the motion carries. Chief and Danielle, so I think we have some other discussion we can talk about it. We'll talk about it obviously during the.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on, we have the agenda in front of us. Danielle's requesting that we do add something to the end of the new business. That would be the Brady effect. Proposal regarding river to Louise.
Yes, the, life preserves.
Life preserve.
Yes.
Okay, that. Okay. So if council's okay with that, we'll add that on to, at the end of new business.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll support.
Motion Bill and second Sherry to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting as amended. Any discussion? Now, Lisa, call roll.
Eric,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yeah.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Motion carries. Moving on to public comment. Is there anyone who wish to address council regarding any topic that on the agenda or not? Sir. Name for the record, please.
Carl Harbeck for Jefferson. A question about Jefferson Street, probably about 3-4 weeks ago. There was some grinding going on in the street by my house there where there was a asphalt repair quite a few years ago. But we had frozen water pipes for 6 of us down, they had to lower it down. And they fixed it, it was nice and smooth, but then there was somebody out there grinding it, then they were sweeping it. Then they went down Jefferson, farther west between Gypsum and Depot, and they ground a whole big area. And driving down it, that whole area is like a washboard now, so, and I don't know why it was even ground at all. Cause it was perfectly smooth, so, whatever was done made it worse. Well, just kind of wondering if anybody here knows about that little project or we did what, but.
That spray patching, it
was grinding, yeah, they were grinding it, then they swept it.
I think it was a spray patch.
I've noticed it too. I'm pretty sure that it's the spray patch that we do. It's kind of a short-term fix when the road starts to break up. It's like a short-term fog and seal rather than doing the whole road in patches. So that, yeah, where they dug that down, that probably started to settle where the water being break was. So it's just a way of temporary sealing it, getting a solid surface until we can come back.
They didn't add anything to it, they just ground and swept it. So I've never seen anything like that before.
So they ground it up like.
I believe they
grind it up.
sprayed some over
No,
top
it
of
was
it.
like a surface grinding, like maybe they were trying to smooth it out type grinding, and they swept off the debris. I've never seen anything like that. The other stuff where they use tar and stone, I know about that, but this is the worst I ever saw, and he made it worse.
Carl, can you tell me where it's at specifically?
Next to my house on Jefferson Street there's a narrow like patch there that they did.
Is it on the east or west side?
It goes from one side to the other because the water line goes from my house under the street to the other side of the main line. So there was a patch like 8 or 9 years ago, and that's what they ground that whole patch there years ago, but it was never a bump there.
Both sides probably, because it's up on the hill between Jefferson and Wilbur, right?
You
And
did spray patching at 402 Jefferson and 320 Jefferson. But it would not have been left ground down. I can go look at it, but I know our DPW walked through that after the work was completed to make sure it was done to specs. So I can definitely take a peek at it, but it shouldn't have made it worse. It should have made it better.
Sorry, but it's like between gypsum and depot, there's a kind of a long stretch there, it's like a washboard.
It's certainly not a milled
horrible,
surface, it's,
but it's bumpy, you know,
Right.
it's like, you know, that all about. Anyway, and then, secondly, some positive things, the antique mall here has fixed up the concrete in the bottom there, crumbling brick, which is really good, talking to the workers, and thank Matt for doing that, and then down the street, 313, I think it is, used to be the copy place. The guy there is named Aaron, he's owned that for a year now, which I don't even know is up for sale, but he's done a wonderful job with a paint pad heater. He's taken all the old paint off and painting, you know, I talked to him and, you know, thanked him 1,000 times. That place has been a mess since I came here in 1995, so that is a very positive thing there. 415 East Adrian Street, Town. Somebody told me, you know, I walked over there a couple weekends ago, I was shocked. You know about that. Beautiful. I talked with the owner, Dave, and he said he was really sorry about what had happened. He got it over his head. I said, it's okay, it's all cleaned up now, but he actually hauled those two big pieces. Now, I thought they were from an airplane. It's actually, he explained it, from a steam turbine. And so, but those are going now too, cost him some money, but it's all cleaned up. I've never seen it that nice since I've been here 30.
Nice.
Oh, it's amazing, it's really amazing. And then, my neighborhood, Jefferson Gypsum, and we're peaceful, the dog problem. Tall grass problems taken care of, the house. Kitty corner have been bought by Phil Freer. He bought it to buy it, flip it, fix it up, because he cares about, Blissfield, he cares about the neighborhood, he told us, he said, he fix it up, he's gonna flip it, make it, you know, a profit, but that place has never looked that good. It's amazing how that place just, it shines now, so he's not done yet, of course, but another positive thing, because, you know, it's, we have problems, but sometimes, it's always good to look at the positive things happening and see we are starting to clean up some things, so. Positive things. Are you shocked they said? Anyway, so anyway, yeah, so. I guess, that's about it. Yes, question, what's going on with the body shop? With the roof going and boarded up, is that in process of being bulldozed and cleaned up or fixed or whatever? People are asking about that.
I think the only update on that, I do see they have started the roof repair, so that probably is the first step of closing up that wall so that they can tear down the rest. When they did demo it, it damaged a little bit of the hip roof. And I did see they did some work on that. Yeah, so it is being addressed.
Yes.
I know it is a slow process, but.
Yeah, we are working with him, but he is working to get that closed up.
Just curious. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you very much, then.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Anybody else cares to address council? All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. Council, anything to bring up?
Library day, you know, where do we stand with the transfer of property?
Yes, so you guys had asked for this to be on the agenda, and it is not, because determination is completed and fully signed. We have that on file, and we will actually be going to the courthouse tomorrow to file the fully signed, which will be the last step. They will fully own it. I actually notified insurance, so that will come off of our policy the end of this month. So we were able to get that reduced prior to paying our invoices, so that we can get refunded. But as soon as we get that filed, I'll send you guys and the library copies of all of that. I was hoping to get there last week, but just had a lot come up and was not able to make it.
It is signed by both parties.
It is all signed, it's just gotta be filed.
That's it. Anyone else? Okay, new business. Number one, the ordinance amendment. regarding chapter 143 as discussed. And right side of the room chatter a little bit, so what do we got?
Well, we were just talking about different decibel levels, so I think that in order to, and I did talk to, I'm already drawing a blank on his name, I apologize, the Jen Dave from Pencilsman. Thank you, and it's definitely not our intention to create an ordinance violation. Art, yes, that's. Oh. So I would recommend that you guys possibly consider amending to include a distance and decibel level. It's obviously completely up to you guys. If you are looking to do a minor amendment tonight, I think we can make that amendment. I can revise it and publish. If you're looking for major amendments, then I would recommend that we, don't take any action on this ordinance tonight, that we allow, or we make a motion to postpone it until those changes can be made, and then you guys can see all of them. I don't mind making the small ones, but when it gets to be quite a few, I think it's really good for all of us to get eyes on it and make sure that is actually what we wanted to amend it to. So it's really up to you
The way you
guys.
refer to small, Danielle, are you saying the level and the distance, that would be considered a small change?
Yes.
And then, Chief, you have a recommendation of something that you.
Yeah, first of all, part of this is my fault, Danielle, her credit, doing a lot of these ordinances, sending them out for review and comments, and I don't know what happened on this one, I missed this one, there's a lot there, I mean, I get the whole point was to simplify it on work that, but there are state laws that I'd like to look at that talk about decibel levels of traffic and that sort of thing. There are different levels for different vehicles, et cetera. I just, and I'm sure Dave did his homework that they're not conflicting, but I kind of want to see what state laws are with regards to decibel levels. We didn't even have anything in the old ordinance with regards to decibel levels. And I'd like to talk to Dave a little bit about it. As far as I can see, unless we have something measurable, and we have any enforcement. So I'd like that, I want Dave a little bit about that, it is fine.
Can we hold off on this because again, talking about like, we were thinking sort of television on downtown and residential and whatnot, we really never discussed commercial noise, industrial noise.
It's never been an issue.
Right, and how do we correlate that with the other ordinances regarding land and zoning, et cetera, so I think maybe we take a step back and. Again, just so they're not conflicting, so that they're easily, relatable.
I think, like you said earlier, the whole focus was on downtown.
Yes.
We may inadvertently have, yes, a wider net always.
So you guys can choose to make no motion and this would just die on the floor. It can always come back to you later, or you can specifically make a motion to postpone to a later date. Completely up to you guys. I have no preference at all, whatever your preference is.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, because we obviously are gonna address it, try to, rewrite the ordinance at some point, so that works.
But we definitely have a minimum to work, or a maximum, depending on how you want to look at it, of the 60 decibels that somehow it worked out with somebody, and everyone is happy with that. So that's a starting point, right there. And, even if we just said something as simple as for the industrial park, not to exceed 60 decibels at your level, for all that we currently have going on. So that might be something, at least a beginning point like that. I'm glad that Institute said something.
Yeah.
The problem there, state law has decibel levels for vehicles that are higher than 60 at 50 feet. So I just want to make sure we don't do something that conflicts with the state law.
So then actually state law is where we begin.
I would use this for a minimum point.
Yeah.
Just to make sure we're not doing anything consistent with state law. Sure.
Well, then I will make a motion to postpone the ordinance. Chapter 143 noise to a further date.
Motion Gwen, second Sherry to postpone the action regarding changes for the amendment to chapter 143 noise. Till further date. Obviously,
Can I
we're
call
gonna go
roll
back and
first?
revisit it.
Can I call roll first?
Oh, yeah.
Further discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah, is it 143 or 120?
well, unless they.
Okay, or-
Yeah. And especially when you had at the beginning, it was 123.
I think that's a typo.
One.
123, I think it's 143.
Should be 143.
Further discussion? I'd rather find it out now before we approve it. And just leave it. Lisa, call roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on, we do have a recommendation from staff regarding website modifications. And we got a proposal from Shoemaker Group. Requesting build package.
Move to approve the Shoemaker Group's gold package proposal in the amount of $2,295 to bring the village's website into compliance with ADA web page requirements by April 2027. Support.
Thanks. Motion Bill, second Eric. To approve the Shoemaker Group's gold package proposal, the amount of $2,295 to bring the village website into compliance with ADA webpage requirements by April 2027. Questions for Daniel?
That's giving us a new email company also.
No.
Seen that
No,
it was in there.
it is not a new email company, so this is just for the website, it's not anything to do with. Any of our Outlook or other programs. We currently contract with Shoemaker Group and they help with the maintenance and hosting of our website. Staff has been working really hard to do a lot of upgrades to our website and have done a lot of them. And we are able to do all of the ADA compliance regulations, but there's a several page list of them. And we had reached out to them for some different help and they brought it to our attention and we need to come in compliance with both the village website and the DDA website. The DDA board did approve to have Shoemaker work with them at the same level that we're recommending the goal so that they will be able to really focus and dedicate their staff has to do it in between our other responsibilities. After the update, after they go through and make sure everything is compliant, then staff would maintain those updates or add any changes in the future.
Is this just legit the fonts and readability, et cetera, or is it actually cleaning it up and doing?
So they are going to do both at the
Okay.
same, they're going to help us clean it up. Bring it more up to date at the same time that they're doing all of the ADA compliance requirements, which are the fonts, the color, the contrast. There's a pretty lengthy list of things that will be required. And large communities are actually required to comply in 2026 and small municipalities, they gave an additional year to come into compliance.
Okay, further questions? Please call roll.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. Carries. Moving on, we do have the year-end budget amendments. Typical from year to year at the end of the fiscal year. Danielle, I don't know if you want to go through them before we make any motions or.
If you guys have questions, I will certainly answer them, but you can see for the most part, our funds are actually in a better position than before the amendment. I do want to just really thank our staff and commend them. They all watch their budgets very closely. They're very responsible with them and I greatly appreciate it. I do look at it regularly, but having those extra eyes and them making sure that they're only buying things that they need and not just going crazy really goes a long way. So thank you to all of them.
I move to approve the resolution for the year-end budget amendments as presented.
Support.
Motion Ken, second Quinn, to approve the resolution for the year-end budget amendments as presented. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, Lisa, call roll.
Eric,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Carried. Moving on, sludge removal at the wastewater treatment plant. We have, another positive here.
Yeah, that was good. I saw her, but we literally didn't even.
I may have literally been doing a dance. So I'll take the lead on this, but Steve is here also, so he can answer any questions that you guys have, but I also have to give some credit to Aaron. We've been working with him trying to find a solution. If you guys recall, we had put this out for bid and we received one bid at 1.3 million. We rejected because obviously it was considerably over our budgeted amount. So we've been working with Aaron, who worked with, or who got a hold of this, siphon company, who we actually have worked with before. They did some tank cleaning work out at our water treatment plant, and they have a robot that will actually go into the tanks. We don't even have to lower them down. And it'll pull all of that sludge out into dewatering bins, and then those will be hauled off and disposed of. So stipends amount is $99,661. They are doing work in Michigan already, and if we can get this approved, it'll save us actually $5,000 off of mobilization costs. So that price will actually go down a little bit, assuming it gets approved tonight. And then the other portion of that is from Clean Management, who will be for 15 days providing 4 dewatering boxes. And the reason we're doing 4 is we'll have 2 always set up. And then when those leave, the 2 empty ones will be set up so we can do a constant rotation. And that amounts at $127,876.50. So between the 2 of them, we are well within our $380,000 budgeted amounts. And we are recommending to move forward with this. They'll coordinate with Steve on all of the dates, but it looks like it'll be end of October again, and that'll help save us on that mobilization cost.
Wow. Were you gonna dance now? You can do a tap dance, yeah.
That was our big thing is, and as you know, the hauling off. Reason and previous companies we've had come in before that's where the big money came in. Fuel and hauling costs were heavy. But when they were able to do this, exactly the same thing they did at the water plant, I asked Laura how they did, and I went down there while they were doing that. And she said they did a wonderful job. So for them to come back with this, it's like, wow. I know when we opened the original one, Lisa and I were here and we looked at that, we didn't want to laugh in front of the person, but it's like, so, like I say, engineers did a great job, putting us all together. Like I say, Daniel said, we don't have to pull our takes down on once, I think, once they go through the line and we're able to get through there, I'll pull John to get an eyeball on that, because, I know part of that was to down the road, right, and we do it this time, we're not sealing the ditches, but the money was there, but I just want to verify myself once it's all down, because we pretty much don't know where our mounts are gonna be. But I think from this time here, it should, saying I don't know for sure, but it shouldn't be as bad, because our headworks building came on in mid 2022. And we cleaned the ditches, both of them in 2020, so you're talking 2.5 years versus previously about 7.5 years. So I don't think it will be as bad. That's my fingers crossed, but like I say, this one escape is like, thank you. I think it's gonna work out well.
You won't know what to do with all that big clean up.
Right, yeah, we'll get all our volume back to our tanks, like I said previously, when they were half full, so you just cut down that line.
So this will be the first time since you've raised them there, right?
Yeah, when I first
That
got
came
here,
clean.
yeah, first time when I got here, we did it in like March, April 2020, and then the second ditch. Had a different company coming in towards the end of 2020.
But we left.
Yeah, we just were used to them, so they got it clean there, so that one, I kept pulling down, you could visually verify that they were right down to this, these guys here. I'd say, we'll see how this, I think it'll work out. Run right there. So,
Does this solve the rotor issue too, then, with that?
it's a whole different name.
Yeah, that's another project that we did, you guys did approve the budget for that, so we're working on. That in the MCC road to make sure that we're not overlapping some components and those will come to you guys separately. But this will get those ditches will be cleaned up and those rotors will,
Work can be done.
yes, and then it'll. When we get those rotors installed, help kind of keeping all that moving so it doesn't settle down and again, the grit removal will hopefully pull all of that out and do what it's supposed to, and it has been pulling out quite a bit, so.
Absolutely.
I think all of these combine together to complement each other nicely and help us run efficient.
Absolutely. And the design of the rotors now are such that, currently each ditch has a rotor. But the new designs now are true in each ditch and the small horsepower motor on each, and then VFDs tied to those. The estimates I saw saved somewhere around $18,000 just in electricity every year. So in 5 years, basically, you're paying for those, and then you put that money aside in 5 years from now, you can put them in there for nothing, so. I think it's gonna be a big savings, like I say, different places I've seen what's in VFDs, so the savings is tremendous on utilities there. So between that and the new rotors, like I say, these are original rotors, like these are almost 40 years old. And just between that and the MCC going in there, should be set for a long time down the road. So that's my goal, is to hopefully complete these projects and then go from there.
We don't want to overdo it.
So that's what we like to hear, Steve. Obviously, thank you for working with Manic, and hats off to both you and Manic again. Great engineering that have saved us quite a bit of money by them reaching out. So thanks to them as
We had a
well.
meeting last Thursday where all got together, and it was kind of nice to everybody got together and actually bounce the ideas and the ideas that they come up with. I thought fantastic.
Knock on wood, I think they're working well for us.
Yes, absolutely.
Very happy with where we're at. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Move to approve sludge removal services with Cybec in the amount of $89,661. And clean management in the amount of $127,876.50 for a total project cost of $257,537.50 with authorization for staff to execute necessary agreements. Support.
Sure. I think you be here, Ken, but we're going to share. I've got a motion, Bill, and a second, Sherry, to approve the sludge removal services with Siphon in the amount of $99,661, and clean management, the amount of $127,876.50 for a total project cost of $227,537.50 with authorization for staff to execute the necessary agreements for the sludge removal and wastewater treatment. Any further discussion? Actually, think this is less than the last bid, which is incredible. Right? Good job, you guys. Lisa, call roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Carries. Moving on, number 5, the MML liability and property pool 2025 ballot. So we do every year. We've got two directors up for consideration or 2 positions. Generally, the village administrator casts those votes. So we're gonna motion for Danielle to go and cast those.
Move to vote for Michelle LaVoy and Josh Moreno for pool directors for Michigan Municipal League liability and property pool
and authorize the village administrator to cast the vote on behalf of the voting body. Support.
Motion Bill and second Tim to vote for Michelle Lavoy and Josh Maringa for pool directors. Which municipal legal liability and property pool. Authorize the village administrator to cast the vote on behalf of the governing body. Question. Hearing none, Lisa, call roll.
Gwen,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Carries. All right, up next, proposed water work continuous utility rate management. Obviously, we discussed this in committee of the whole. Danielle, I think since the public is listening, we've got the press here, may not be a bad time to go ahead and spiel what we're trying to do with this.
Yeah, so Waterworth, has a cloud-based program that is similar to a rate study. The main difference to this program is that it's continuous. So when we do rate studies that look at our fees, it is a snapshot in time. So it's taking a look at our historical data at that time and saying, based on this information and based on things like inflation, this is where your rate should be. The nice thing about Waterworth and the huge benefit that they provide is that they put in all of the information we provided to them as far as capital, our actual budget, things like that, and then we can look further into the future. And every time we make a decision, it impacts the fund balance and our fundability, what we have available, so we can input that in real time and see what that direct impact is going to be. So that hopefully we're looking to the future when we're making those decisions and we can make better, more informed decisions. They did a presentation at the committee of the whole meeting last week. Was it last week? Gosh, last week. If anybody wants information too, I'd be happy to share it. And at that time, council had shown an interest in possibly using this for other things, not just water and sewer. So Matt did provide us a proposal to include general fund, which I think was one of the main focuses, and that would be things like, we could look at like pool fees, we could look at brush collection. I'm trying to think, there's so much more around the line. So they do, the more services you add, they incentivize it. So if you add the general fund, it actually decreases your cost of the water and sewer portion a little bit. But the total for all three would be $9,206. This is an annual subscription. So keep in mind, it's not a one-time thing, but that provides us unlimited support, unlimited data entry by their employees. So again, it's not increasing the staff's workload. We just send them all of the things we're already doing and they import it. But it gives us the ability to run some scenarios and different things when we are looking at our rates and long-term planning.
And it's a living document.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing.
Good luck.
Motion to approve water services for continuous utility rate management for the village's water and sewer utilities in the amount of $9,206. Authorize the village administrator to execute the necessary.
Motion Tim, second Sherry to approve waterworks services for continuous utility rate management for the village's water and sewer utilities. Should it have general?
Yeah, that does include general, but I don't know if we need to amend it.
You're good.
All right, in the amount of $9,206, authorize the village administrator to execute the necessary agreement. Further discussion.
The meeting last week was worthwhile, beneficial. Would like the residents to recognize that the village staff, council is always looking for a way to help with the cost of our water. We continue to do that. We continue to strive to try and do a better job with that and being cognizant of the cost of service. Nice job, Dana, on doing the staff, and that was something that you had shared with us last week, Danielle, that, you had attended the conference per se, and you went ahead and put your name in, to find out more information. As well as perhaps win a prize, you got that information, and from that, you seeing a conference, seriously, this came from you attending a conference. And I think that that's always, you know, we always sometimes wonder, what is the value of someone attending a conference? We have seen time and time again, the value come back, via a grant, something of that nature, or in this case, something that's gonna help with our water. Thank you.
Is there a value to maybe just doing the water portion now and wait for the general fund just to add that component? Maybe next year or later in the year to see how this,
I think that's what we decided to do, correct?
No, you have all three.
all three are in the nine.
And the nine,
Nine
yes.
thousand seven hundred fix.
If you wanted to do just the
That's
water and
75.
sewer, it was, 7520.
You're right. I
For the
apologize.
two, I think it was. So it completely up to you guys. I just included the general
Sure.
fund because there was an interest, but
It all looks
keep in mind that it changes, so the new proposal's got that incentivized fee, so you have to go back to the original proposal, which I think was 36. I can pull it if you give me a second.
While we're looking at that, I truly like the real-time data. And again, this is a working, like Sherry said, a working breathing document. And again, it's or a program. It's something that we don't have to enter. We can provide these consultants our information, our numbers, and they can help us make better determinations. I think for the public, obviously, a lot of people don't understand why the water and sewer rates are what they are. I think adding in the general fund are going to answer a lot of our questions in terms of, you know, infrastructure upgrades, pool upgrades, you know, motor vehicle. You know, do we wait to purchase a police car or a DPW vehicle, something like that? How does it, you know, we could give them their numbers and they could plug it in and they say, well, it's gonna cost this much more next year. It's beneficial to do it this year. Or, you know, we spread this thing out across a couple of years. I think for an extra $2,500 out of the general fund, I think it's really gonna pay for itself.
Hence the general fund.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you chose to exclude that, it would be 7,520.
Right there, that was just by itself, that's why I was thinking that, I knew we had talked about the general fund, my error on that, so yes, I'm with you guys.
They say, you know, you gotta spend money to make, but I think we're gonna spend this money again. Much like we alluded to a bunch of time, we're trying to take steps back and look at, you know, start from scratch, look at the big picture as a whole. What is most efficient, what is most economically feasible. But I think this program makes sense, and hopefully we're gonna get a good deal, a good return from it.
As far as the whole having the general fund addition on there, Danielle, kind of like what Ken was suggesting, is that. Do you think having the general fund addition now is okay, or should we just go with the water initially and then add on to the general, is what I'm hearing you say?
I think either way is okay. I do want to be completely clear that when I did meet with Matt several times before this was presented to you guys, and our sole focus was water and sewer, and that's where we went through a lot of the tools and resources and the things that would help be beneficial to us. He obviously provided the updated general fund quote, but we didn't get a chance to really deep dive into that. So I couldn't tell you 100%. That I feel is confident about that is the water and sewer being helpful, but I do think there's a benefit. So either way, it's really up to you guys if you wanted to. I definitely think the water and sewer, because that's where we have the highest fees and that's where we're constantly looking at our capital needs and things like that, where we are doing better in our general fund. So it's really up to you guys. It's what your preference is. It's not any harder for us to do that now or to add it a year from now. Yeah, I would provide all of the information to him and start using it immediately, yes.
I think the value of that, as we talked about in council whole, it's indescribable. And my opinion is the difference between the 7,500 and 9,200 with the general fund additions is insignificant.
I feel the same way.
I feel, because our general funds, we pay a lot out of the general fund, and I think when we go to budget time again, it's gonna help us out in the long run. And for the sooner than later, sorry.
Another question, what does this do with us in Vincennes?
So Benzinski did finalize their report, that's been fully funded, and thank you to ZFS for reimbursing us for that cost as well. So I just wanted to remind you guys that the village did not, we did pay for it, but we're paid back. I am meeting with them the beginning of October. I want to say the 4th, but please don't quote me on that. There's a couple of questions that I have on the report, which is why it's not shared with you guys yet, that I think are wrong or I'm questioning and want some clarification. As soon as I meet with them and we make sure that it is accurate and we're good with everything, I will share that with you guys. I think that definitely helped us set our fees this year and is beneficial, but even in their report, they specifically say that you need to look at your fees on an annual basis. And this kind of goes back to what Benzinski did, was really good work. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or was not beneficial, but it's that snapshot where Waterworth is going to let us look in the future. So next year, when we're looking at all of our budget as a whole and our capital projects, and I'm gonna focus on capital as an example, and we're trying to decide what to fund and what not to. Waterworth will actually allow us to do some different scenarios. So if you guys say, I'm gonna make things up right now, but we have a $3 million project and you say we can't do that this year, I'll be able to in Waterworth say, okay, we're gonna push this out 4 years, and you can see the impact to our fund and what that does. Does it take 2 years to impact or 7 years? So that you can make those better decisions, where Benzinski doesn't have that ability because they're looking at that moment in time and that past year.
My question is more, so we don't have a relationship with them. They're not doing other things for us like Manic does.
No, they were
So
contracted
this is a
just to
one-time
do,
thing, so. okay.
yes. Yep, if we wanted to have them review in a year again, we would have to do a new
New contract.
agreement with them for it, or whatever that cost would be. Yes. And it was $9,500 per fund for that study.
Questions, comments? All right, please call roll.
Eric,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Gwen.
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes, motion carries. And just when we get that thing up and running, I think it would be good. You know, we could do a 1-pager or something, some sort of slideshow to say this is public, this makes sense. You know, we budgeted 40,000 for lead line replacement this year. You know, if we improve, or if we increase that, how does that affect our water rates? Or if we kind of pass that along over a specific, amount of years, obviously inflation, obviously, material costs, that sort of thing goes up. So this is a very nice tool to say, how we gonna spread our funding availability across the page properly and efficiently. I think we're gonna see a lot of good information coming out of this.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, it will take us about 6 weeks to work with them to get all of our data and everything into the program to start with. Once we get it imported, it'll be easy to keep it updated after that, but just give us that. I don't want people to think that next week we'll have something ready for them.
All right, moving on, 223 tree planting project. Got 14 of the crab apples along the railroad right away there by the bridges that needed to replace. Got 2 quotes, Natural Lawn Care and Countryside.
There are 3 other just properties as well that are
Sorry.
included. I just want to make sure you guys see that. So we did receive the 2 proposals. Natural Lawn Care is the lowest, and we did get $2,000 from consumers to go towards this, which obviously isn't a huge amount, but it's still every little bit helps. So the village portion would be $8,500. And we do need to have this completed by November 11th for the grant requirements. Otherwise, we do forfeit that $2,000. If you have other questions, let me know.
I saw, I'm sorry. I saw in, Natural Lawn Care's bid that they wanted to do it after frost. For planting the trees is how's this, how does that impact?
I did talk to them about that and told them that we had to have it done before that. I actually told them November 7th deadline, and they did say that they would be willing to work with us. And we actually ran into this a few years ago because of the consumer's grant, and they got everything done in time and completed the grant. Yes.
Do we answer the question about if DPW is required to help move large concrete?
I did ask Brent about that, and I'm not sure what we'll find, but we will certainly help where we can. And we'll have to address that. I'm hoping that we're over preparing.
Rotary had offered to assist with this at one point, is that still on the table?
They did, and I didn't bring it up because I can't tell you specifically what they're going to do. So this will be on their board meeting next month. I had requested it. So the Rotary did at one point approve to pay for the new trees, not to fund any portion of the removal. So I am going to be asking them if they're still willing to do that and up to what amount, just to confirm, because it has been some time. I had asked them to wait to see if we could get this grant funding. So I don't want to say that they're able to do something until I know 100%. So I'm asking you guys to approve the full amount, and if they come back and are able to help us, then it would just go towards this project specifically, and I would report on that.
And I really appreciate Natural Lawn Care. They've done a great job for us. I would just recommend that we request prairie fire crab at both one species that match. Unfortunately, they didn't last time, so we want consistency, right? We want it to be one matching size, shape, tree, etc. For at least for the 14 in the
And I did request the same size on those, but I can confirm that with them and make sure they are the same tree.
Appreciate it.
Move to approve the proposal from Natural Lawn Care and Landscaping, in line with $10,500 for tree removal and replacement along US 223, and the planting of 4 new trees within village right of ways, in line with $10,500.
I'll support.
Bush Bill, second one to approve the proposal from Natural Lawn Care and Landscaping in the amount of $10,500 for the tree removal replacement along US 223. And the planting of 4 new trees within village right of ways, amount of $10,500. Further discussion? And now Lisa call roll.
Tim,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes, carries. Thank you. Moving on to reports.
The added item,
That's right, my bad. Okay, going back to the
the Brady effect.
life preservers, what you say?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Like,
So I spoke with Haley, who is in charge of a new nonprofit. They were established in March of this year, and it is called the Brady Effect. So I'm not sure if you guys recall or saw in the news last, I think it was November, a gentleman drowned at the pit in Tennessee. He was training for a triathlon, and they did not have any life preserves down there. It was Kaylee's brother. So since that incident, she has really showed, I guess, taken on this passion of making sure that there's life preserves and safety and warnings at different bodies of water throughout the area. And they are wanting to donate a 4x4 post with a life preserve or multiple. She has a few left, that we could place in our park along the river racing. And wanted to know if we'd be interested. So just there, she will actually be coming through, Sunday to install some in Clinton and in Adrian. The pit already has some, they've had it for a few months now. And they've done several other locations. We can do this a couple different ways. They will do full service where they come, they dig the 4x4, they put it in concrete 3 feet deep. The post will have a hook on it and the life preserve will hang from there. They do have a 60-foot rope, so that's about how far out they'll go into the river or the body of water. The second option is that they'll deliver all of the materials if we want a little bit more control over specifically or exactly where they're placed. We could mark them too if they do the full service option. But in the case that they deliver all materials, we obviously would do the installation ourselves. Once they're installed, they're owned by us. All that they're asking for is that if in the future we remove them, we just let them know because they are maintaining a list of all of the locations that they're located. And they do a monthly newsletter, so they would just remove that. Additionally, they are hoping to get people who will sponsor a life preserve. So in the event that, let's say 2 or 3 years down the road, ours is looking really dingy, we can reach out to them and say, hey, do you have life preserves that have been sponsored? Ours is looking really bad and needs to be replaced. Or we could choose to replace it at that time, whatever we needed to do. They're leaving it up to us if we wanted to leave those out all year long or if we wanted to pull them in for the winter to help protect them and extend the life of the preserve. But if you have any other questions, let me know. I tried to get as much information as I could, so that I could bring this up to you guys tonight. She is hoping that because she does not live in the area and is already making a trip on Sunday, that if we're looking for them to install and or drop off the materials, that she can do it in one trip rather than having to then come back at a later date. So it would happen fairly quickly. Questions?
There is no cost to the village for this.
Correct. There would be no cost to the village, unless in the future we wanted to replace a reserve. I would reach out to her again. Or if we were to remove it, that cost would be on us. And again, she's just asking that we notify them. They are planning to, they're still working on getting established. They're still fairly new, but their plan is to reach out to everybody on a yearly basis and just say, hey, how are things looking? Have you used them? And make sure that their list is up to date. So it'll be really on both of us to stay in touch and moving forward.
A great proposal, yeah, appreciative, the things that people do, the donations to the village. I think the best spot would probably be on each side of the river near the arch bridge. That way, with the current flowing towards the vehicle bridge. Probably almost in the most northern part of the park there, just have one on each side. They're accessible by that arch bridge closely. Will be maintained there.
Two Danielle or only one?
I would recommend one on each side of the river. That way, if something, God forbid, were to happen, that
Yes.
you don't have to try to cross to get to it. And I want to say she said she had 5 left, but don't quote me on that. But
So, should be the 2. That's not the issue. It's not just that we're offering one.
no, it is not. Yeah, she said you tell us. She said she'd even do them every 100 feet if you wanted to down the river bank.
I think having a park on either side of the river. You could at least have one on each side.
Maybe near the pedestrian, the road to the street bridge as well. If we have them just at one end. So if we had a total of 4. If that's
And
doable.
Chief just said the same thing. He said it might not be a bad idea to have one by each of the bridges.
Yeah.
So that you've got both
I mean,
on
yeah,
each side.
I would say 4, absolutely.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
doing great.
How long's your little frisbee rope start for?
Those are
60 probably as well, so very similar.
The rescue desks.
I would just like someone to actually mark where they'd like to be. Have Brett determine DPW, you guys go out there and say, this is where we definitely like to have something marked, not done.
We would definitely, I'd have to include, looking at chief, but rent because of utility.
Yes.
Right.
As well.
Fire chief, because they do the water.
Good point. So if you guys can get it in, I absolutely. Yeah. That's a great idea. May I make a motion? Yes. Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the offer for the 4x4 posts, 4 of them. Life preservers, 4 of them, to for the Brady effect on the river racing. That's sufficient, Danielle? Yes.
I support that.
Motion by second Bill to approve the proposed Brady effect for life preservers, or 2 if they can't, right? For the river racing. Each side of the river, preferably by the bridges. Okay, further discussions. Now Lisa, call roll.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bill, Mike,
Yes. Carries. Now moving on to the reports. Police chief. Council, well, we got your report in front of you. Any questions on chief report? Okay, Parks and Rec, any questions?
Yes. You would just
When
go ahead and speak to that.
I can.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So that will actually be coming to council for consideration on October 13th. There will be a public hearing if any residents have feedback. But it is a living, breathing document. It is something that Parks and Rec is planning to, at least on an annual basis, go through and review all of their goals, make sure it's relevant, make sure we're checking things off and updating that. But they did put a ton of work into it. If you have not looked at it yet, it is much more, it's much more than our current plan. There, it's quite extensive, a lot of really good goals. So very proud of them. They've been working on that for the last year.
Well, as well as Danielle and her team.
any questions for Parks and Rec? Building planning. That managed report. Any questions on the water treatment? Steve here from wastewater. Questions? Thanks, Steve, for being here. All right, moving on, council discussion. Yes, sir.
I have a thank you and a question. Thank you for the new camera. And who controls it?
Depends on the night. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I like it because whoever's speaking, we turned it to them, so
No,
I've been
Lisa
wanting
will,
that for over a year, so thank you.
Lisa will be controlling it just because she can see the camera and make sure everything's working, but thank you to DPW for getting it installed for us. We appreciate it. We do have to get a little bit longer cord, but it is operational and hopefully will work well. And I won't have to keep climbing ladders to adjust the camera, so I'm excited too.
Was you waiting for somebody to notice it?
No, they talked about it at the beginning of the meeting, but I think before it started.
Okay,
Somebody noticed quickly. I think it was Ken.
thank you.
That it, Tim?
Yes.
Sherry, got one?
No.
Eric? Gwen?
Nothing at this time.
No, Bill? No, sir. Ken?
Nope.
For council, I do real quick there, Ken and I did attend the MML conference last week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Some very good dialogue, some not so good dialogue, but good experience. Again, the trainings are well worth it. And you know, any ideas that we bring back, any networking, I think it's just a good process. I highly encourage our other boards to continue training and our staff members Again, that's a small investment in our village to have well-versed and again, steal ideas. There's nothing wrong with that, so use what works. So appreciate Ken. What's that?
As long as it's not college football.
Yes. Ken, hope you got something from it. Moving on, public comment. Miss Jackie. Yes, please.
So
Name-
Tuesday.
name for the record is
I'm going
Jackie.
walking
Jackie.
downtown,
Name for the record, sorry.
Jackie Bates, at about 1 o'clock, and all the planters are still gorgeous with petunias. I drive to town at 5:30, they're all gone, and there's pumpkins everywhere. But they all look very nice, so happy fall, everybody.
Okay. That was hard to pull those flowers. They were doing very well.
Yeah.
As a season, yeah.
Beautiful.
Get it ready for antiques and all this weekend, so yes. Thank you for that, though. We appreciate positive feedback. Anybody else? About anything? No? Last chance. Moving on, committee, the whole preview for October 20th. Obviously, we don't have it next week. We'll be discussing more budget discussion with Boy Scouts, historical meeting or historical society. Anything that we want to add on that?
Um,
I'm sure something we could fill out by then.
yeah, I'm not off the top of my head right now. I'm kind of think you guys asked about something and I can't recall now. I feel like you asked when.
Garbage collection, that kind of thing.
I don't think we're ready for that yet. If, I will certainly like put myself something.
I think as well.
But both the Historical Society and Boy Scouts are confirmed, and I will be sending out, so similar, I don't know if you guys checked your email today, but I sent something on baseball and softball. I'll be sending something very similar with the Historical Society and Boy Scouts, but I wanted to separate them just because I'm sending you guys a lot of information, so my apologies.
And I shared that with my board members.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
If there's nothing further from council, entertain, well, sorry, there is a next meeting announcement, October 13th, 2025 will be the next scheduled regular council meeting. And if there's nothing further, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 7:41 p.m.
Sure. You guys might know. You win. Got a motion, Bill, second Sherry to adjourn 7:40. Okay. Lisa, call roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.